Hi, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. Today I am going to get my new Archer and Olive A5 functional planner set up and I'm really looking forward to using it and getting into the swing of things again for the new year. I'll link below my updated lineup planner video if you want to get caught up on what's happening and why I'm using this. But let's get started. So I'm working on this opening page and then you get two dot grid pages and then you get this grid spreadsheet, and then there's 4 dot grid pages which I'll be using as part of the opening setup. However, the 2 pages, because really there's 6 that follow that here, are going to be part of January and I'm going to use them as the January monthly. So I started with my opening title page rather than the page that has this book belongs to, because I was waiting on a Coffee Monsterz Co order. And here are the pens and washi that I used in order to create the spread if you're interested. So my intention with this planner is to keep it as simple as possible and not to have spreads for the sake of it. However, I just wanted to have a cover page. It's just something that I enjoy doing and I think it just sets the mood. I wouldn't have been using this page functionally anyway, because it's the page that comes at the start of bound books where the glue goes up quite far, and that would have annoyed me using something like that functionally. So I just thought I would have a bit of fun. I salvaged this little Coffee Monsterz Co 2023 sticker from the previous planner setup that I had done, and I used a sticker from Planner Monkey Co that has a little quote, and the quote is, "Don't trade what you want most for what you want right now." And I just really like that quote. And again, there's nothing functional about this page, but it was just a bit of fun. And I do definitely, like I was saying a second ago, want to make this really functional, because I had fallen into the bad habit of not putting things in my planner because I was focused more on the aesthetic than on the actual use of the planner. And while yes, I still want to use stickers the odd time and make it fun, etc., so that I'm not bored, I want to get back to the core of this is supposed to be for me, productivity wise, getting things out of my head, etc. And if I have to score something out, what does it matter? And that kind of mentality. So while you'll see I use the odd sticker in this setup, it is very, very simple and the focus is the function. Something else I had really enjoyed, I'd used this stencil in my future overlog in my previous setup. Overlog? Yearly overview. I'm getting confused between yearly overview and future log. I wanted to bring that across here, so I used the Lily stencil, and I'll show you the difference in a second. But practice really does make perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but I improved and it was fun to see how much better this one looked than the first time I tried it. And in my journal at some point I intend to give Distress Oxide a go with these stencils just to see how that turns out. I really love how this turned out. It's almost monochrome apart from that little pop of green. Anyway, on to the next spread. So this grid is going to be used as my when did I last spread for cleaning, and I've actually been using that this year so far and I've really enjoyed it. I just wanted to transfer it across to this new planner, and this is the MildLiners I used and a Sharpie, and then this is the washi and the other Tombows and the mechanical pencil that I used. If you're interested, I salvaged the washi from my other planner. I'm just gluing it down, but other than this bit of washi, it is just pens and markers. But this essentially shows me when I last did things. So did I clean the oven this month? Am I due to clean the oven this month, etc. So I put a colour code along the side of the left and the side of the right, and then I numbered that colour as well. So along the very bottom in pencil I wrote, say number 2 is clean the oven. So the pencil shows me when something is due, and then I rub the pencil out and put it in my monthly, that month that it's due. This is really hard to explain. And then whenever I have done it, I highlight the colour in the date. So say up at the top is January, and then if I did it on the 12th, I'd go down to where it says 12 and highlight it. I actually considered making this spread a yearly overview and having the blank pages after the dot grid pages as a future log. So the best way I can describe the difference would be a yearly overview is where you put events and things that you know that are happening, so that when you go to plan your month you can refer to it, like birthdays. Whereas a future log is somewhere that you can put things that you don't know it's happening. So I haven't set up the month of June, so if somebody tells me in June let's have a weekend away, I would then go to my future log and put it in the June section so that I have somewhere to write it. And that's something that I have had missing, to be honest. I do pre-plan and I write notes and things, but I end up with bits and pieces of notes everywhere. And I find that if you put a post-it in on the week that you're going to do it, you just risk it falling out or getting in the way. And I could just go ahead and write it in, but then I don't know what I'm going to decorate that week like, or what pen I'm going to use, etc. So I decided this year I wanted to have both. So initially I had thought that I would use this spread for the yearly overview and then do the future log on the dot grid. But then I decided, well, I do want this when did I last, and it would be perfect in here. So I just thought I'm going to combine them. Why not? I just put the things that I know and left space for the things that I didn't. But I'll get onto that in a second. I'm just going to continue setting up this checklist, and you'll see here I'm putting the pencil part at the bottom, which then will actually be a note for the things I didn't do when it's permanent, but this is just a sort of a pre-plan of what is due that month. And you'll see in January there I did clean my oven on the 12th and I cleaned my brushes on the 18th. Okay, so let me show you now that it's set up and see if it'll make sense. So I know that in February I need to clean my brushes, the lights, the washing machine, the skirting, and my coffee machine. See the way at the bottom there it says 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. And then I put them across into my monthly and rub out the pencil. And then I put it in highlighter once I've actually done it. It'll make sense as the year goes on. Anyway, on to the next spread, and this is what I used for it. So it's my future, well, it's yearly overview / future log. I've combined the two, and I kept it so simple. So while I did a decorative opening spread and I used a bit of washi in the previous spread there, just used pens and markers here, and I didn't bother doing the little calendars. You know, when people set up a future log, they'll write January and then they'll do all the dates underneath it, and then they'll write when it is. I just realised I don't need that. If I write that something is on the 2nd of January, it's there in black and white. I don't then need to put a dot on a number 2 above it to get that. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really am trying to make the function the priority and not the decor. And the decor is there to keep it fun for me, but I don't want the aesthetic to be the focus. And writing down the numbers would have been solely for aesthetic purposes and a waste of time. Left it there then for the day and waited then for my Coffee Monsterz Co. order to come in before I continued on. So here's the little nameplate finally here, and you have to write on this with an oil-based marker, and if you can see there, that's water-based, my SLA metallic marker, and I was going to write on it in white so it looked like a chalkboard, and I was really annoyed because I thought maybe it was oil-based, and literally the only thing that I had to write with was this silver Sharpie. I wrote on it, I left it to dry and came back an hour or two later and wrote on it again, and then the next day it still looked really faint. So it didn't smudge, it's not, it did dry or anything, it didn't ruin it, but you can hardly see it. So I think this is me coming back here to do the second coat. I think I'm going to go onto Amazon and look up oil-based markers and then potentially find something that I can write over the top of this with. Even if I leave this one alone, because you can't see it when you tilt it about a bit. I want it for my other copies. I have a couple of these little nameplates, and I also have post-it notes that are like a transparency material that I want to be able to write on, so I do need to invest in some oil-based markers. So if you have any recommendations, please do leave them below. So as you can see here, I'm testing it and it doesn't smudge. You can only really see it when you tilt it about. But all I did was stick it down using my new T ruler to line it up. And then I used an N60 Tombow to highlight the "This Book Belongs To" part. And that is it. I kept this really, really simple. And I love how this little plate makes something that's so simple look really good. That is my planner for 2023, all set up. There's actually 14 notes pages in the back of the planner, and I had considered setting up like a budget spread, and I was going to do like a whole Dutch door thing with it, and I'd considered a few other things that I could set up, But then I realised I'm really just setting them up for the sake of it. I do not use budget trackers. My bills are the exact same every month and they're set up to come out automatically, so I don't need it. So I took my own advice of what I was going to do for the year and restrained myself, and I'm leaving those blank for things that I actually need. I'm sure I will need things as the year goes on. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this setup today. I'm looking forward to getting into using it, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!